One small step for film. One giant leap for Interfellas.
I think Interstellar is like one of those movies where like, I know we just rewatched it and...
Literally like right before we filmed this, just so it's fresh on the mind.
One of those movies where it gets you into the action right away. And that's one of the things that Nolan, I think, is known for.
Yeah.
Especially like, you know, the Dark Knight opening sequence.
Yeah.
So even though it's a complicated story, I think by getting, because a lot of people, they just hear, oh, space movie, they don't know what Interstellar is actually about.
Yeah.
By capturing the audience early, and I know I always praise Hans Zimmer for you know, the whole score.
Yeah.
But Cornfield Chase happening in the first 5 minutes of the movie, I know that's probably one of our favorite scenes, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously the song has a lot to do with that. I just feel like he made one of the best scores for the whole movie, but mainly the Cornfield Chase song was just epic. And what's crazy, I watched some sort of documentary that they were talking about, like it was like the behind the scenes, and they planted all of that for production.
I saw that.
Like, I don't even know how many acres worth of corn just to like run that one scene to like run it over. I saw it was a podcast Matthew McConaughey was on. He was talking that his children were on set one day and they were letting like his kids drive the truck through the cornfield and like running through it and stuff. So it's that. I mean, you know, jumping right into that movie and having it start out with, like you said, the first 5 minutes you see the drone that he like takes over, and now prior to that they show him piloting the
his aircraft.
His
when
aircraft.
he was in NASA.
Right, and then you know you obviously see that he's intellectually capable of hacking into some drone, so you know, like, all right.
I think it's also cool that Nolan sets the stage to make you think that it's actually a true story with like that. I don't want to call it mockumentary, but documentary style of like,
them talking about
like dust. What do you call it? The Dust Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, we even question like, are these actual Dust Bowl survivors? So by setting that stage, you're like, all right, we're in for like a real like you know, deep experience. But I definitely think, and you know, we always joke around, Timothée Chalamet. That's probably his debut from what I can remember, right, in big time film. And then just the way that he takes you, like you said, through the fields in his truck, and then you're kind of like, all right, we hacked this thing, we're right into the movie. Yeah. Let's figure out what this thing is even relative to.
Right. And then, like, obviously the biggest question appears where she's trying to figure out these signs that are appearing, whether it's the dust separation, which he finds out it's like binary code, the books falling off the shelf. And something that I picked up, like what I love about this movie a lot too, is with every new watch, you just see something different that you haven't. And I think what's really interesting about this movie is I feel like on the first watch through, it doesn't, like, it's awesome, but it's the second and the third where you really start to appreciate it. And I felt like that's how it worked in the fandom, like, or in whatever, like the movie
universe,
realm, or whatever you want to say. Like, it took people a while to really understand like the depth and complexity of how great this movie was. So something that I thought of was like, it doesn't tie in because they're going off of like Murphy's Law, gravitational, but initially when he showed the streams of dust, my head thought of like the invisible string theory. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like this concept that everything is connected, and like people say that they have these like the moment is too coincidental. Like that's the invisible string theory, where like there's invisible strings tying it all together for it to make sense. So they appeared, and I'm like, damn, like I know it doesn't really tie into, that wasn't the concept they're trying, but it worked, and I was like, holy shit. Like
his daughter kind of takes after him, and you know, she's obviously could you call her protagonist? Probably, right? I know Cooper, I know Matthew McConaughey is the main actor, but you know, Chalamet's more towards the farmer, his other side of life. But between binary code, Morse code, NASA, you're like, all right, where is this going? Because I feel like in the past, prior to Interstellar coming out, like space movies have been, I don't want to say simple, but you have like Apollo 13. And, you know, 2001.
A very linear, plot-driven, this is what we need to accomplish, and they just run through it.
And that's one of the things that, at least for me personally, why I love Nolan is because he adds all these layers to this story. And even throughout the movie, at a certain point when Jessica Chastain comes into the movie, that's when you kind of see, like, I don't want to call it a linear story, but you see where she's trying to help solve the world and where he's at in his space journey trying to solve the world. Because a lot happens before that. They go into like the deep sleep in this spaceship and like they're out of it in like 2 seconds. You're like, wow, we're like far ahead into like this journey already.
Yeah, years probably on Earth time.
And but just everything is so well done. Like the way they explain to the audience how time works relative to everything, it's just truly like...
I also love like Nolan and his writing team, whoever comes up with these creative concepts, how deep they go. Like naming her Murphy and then tying it to Murphy's Law and then him explaining like, no, Murphy's Law is like whatever can happen will happen. And then that overarching theme just plays throughout the entire movie over and over, like everything, but that's just one. He'll have like 7 of those going at the same time. Gravity, space and time, like stretching time, the wormhole, things like that. So one of those, that's my favorite part of like the intro beginning, obviously Cornfield when he's driving, but also him explaining to Murph like, your name isn't bad. It just means that anything that can happen will, and it clearly shows that because of the whole like loop in the story.
Well, and also another thing that you just mentioned, like on first watch, admittedly, it's a confusing movie, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, I don't get how this theory works or whatever, but the one thing that he does very well is answering his questions later in the film. I know like there's a lot of people out there, you know, all the videos go viral of like people's moms, like, who's that? And like a guy, he like put like a slideshow of like all the questions to be answered so that the mom wouldn't bug him asking questions. But like one of the things, like Michael Caine's character explaining to him that we don't know for sure, but I'm literally dedicating all the time that you were up there to solve what gravity is in this equation to figure out how we can get life off of Earth. And that kind of just, you know, it's obviously Cooper's fuel. All right, I want to save my kids. Yeah. But it's also a deeper layer to kind of explain to the audience, like, he kind of, well, I don't know if I want to go into it. He lied.
The whole time.
He lied the entire time to kind of get, you know, I know he mentioned that they sent 12 people up for the Lazarus Project, but it's kind of, you know, messed up because it's sad to say, but in the world we live in, how people lie to get to positions of power and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, we could, obviously there's so much to talk about, so we're not going to, it's going to be hard to keep.
I'm trying to.
No, I know, it's going to be hard to keep in order, but, you know, once he finds out that he goes on this mission and then they start going, you know, I really loved the transmitting messages back and forth, and one of the best scenes in the entire movie is when McConaughey, you know, they have the issue, which we'll get to, but then he's like breaks down and cries. And another thing that was really cool about that, I watched on the podcast or one of the things, it was the first take.
Yes, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, so like he's like, I let it all out in the first one. Just, I saw the clip and like, you know, just ripped it, and that was the take they wound up going with.
Well, I think didn't Chalamet admit recently, like in one of like his interviews, that he like asked McConaughey, like how many times have you watched Interstellar? He's like, maybe once. Yeah. Which is crazy because it's 2014 it came out. Yeah. And just like goes to show like how immersed McConaughey gets into his roles. He's like, I already, you know, I did what I had to do. I acted in that movie. Why do I need to like, quote unquote, glaze myself and watch it again? Like, he's just on to the next.
You know, once they get through and they get to the wormhole, another great part, I like how they make it easily digestible for a regular person to understand. Oh, yeah. Why they're doing, like, because I feel like up until that point, you know, they're trying to save humanity, but you don't understand how or why, like how
why
they're
leaving Earth, where they're going.
What's the point? So then, like, literally a simple sheet of paper on the NASA sheet, and he just like draws the X, and the other one, he's like, this is how long it would take. The wormhole folds it. And yeah, I mean, it's a little wordy trying to figure out, you know, 3-dimensional, it's a sphere, and they like answer it right away, but at least you understand, like they take the distance and they kind of like fold it, and they're like, we have to travel through this to get to where, like I thought that was a great way to, I don't want to say dumb it down, but make it easier to digest for people too.
Well, definitely too, because like, you know, they say right before they enter the wormhole that like we're saying goodbye to the one solar system galaxy that we know, and they're entering a realm that the only way they know about it is because they sent probes and then the 12 people who are on the Lazarus Project. Right. But I think the one thing that I think maybe the audience was thinking, like, okay, wow, we're going to go visit 12 different realms. No, right away they tell you, okay, only 3 of these potential 12 planets or whatever you want to call them systems are potentially habitable. Right. And that's where the movie picks up, because then it's emotion and like raw love, so many emotions factor into the choices that they have to make. Like, I know it's determined, what do you say, like halfway through the movie that Anne Hathaway has like feelings for Edmonds, or is a little bit past that?
It might be, I would say maybe even a little earlier.
Yeah.
Because,
well, he finds out, but then he didn't disclose to Rom when they make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, you have Man's planet, you have Miller's planet, you have Edmonds' planet, and you know, I think most people know Interstellar with Miller's planet, like score, set scene with like the waves crashing down, and then just the end result and how that results into one of the most famous scenes when McConaughey's reading all the messages.
Mm-hmm. You would probably know the ticks and the sound and the score. What is it? Every hit is like is it a day or what is it?
I think, well, we looked up the calculation. Every minute is like 4.25 days. So like, I forget what the ding, I forget.
I kind of want to look that up.
I know.
Let me see. Yeah, so on here it says, on Miller's planet, every ticking noise occurs every 1.25 seconds, which symbolizes a day. So every time you hear that, I don't know if it's a bell, I don't know what he used, but that instrument, it's a day passing. Yeah. And like they know the severity, like he talks about, and that's why he came up with the theory, like get into the orbit and we'll range down, we won't use the fuel and we'll save more time, which obviously that backfire, well, that plan doesn't backfire, but you know.
What I was going to say was one thing we were asking ourselves was like, I wonder how much time he was planning to save.
Right.
Because we knew every hour is 7 years on Earth. Mm-hmm. So we're like, okay, did he think, okay, this is only going to take us a half hour, so it'll only be 3.5 years lost on Earth.
Right.
Because we know Romley's going to go do his equations.
Yeah.
Like,
he's like 5 years. I'll sit here alone and no problem. He's like, I'll figure out the wormhole.
Yeah. So I'm curious because I know as a result of the mishap and with the wave crashing down on them, it takes 45 minutes to an hour to reboot their ship. Yep. And you know he's flipping out on Anne Hathaway because she was adamant about collecting the data, and that's kind of where she gets in trouble out there, where Tars or Case goes after her.
I think it's Case is always piloting the ship, and Tars is usually always like man on the street.
And then Doyle's like, all right, I got to go save her. Meanwhile, he dies. Mm-hmm. The data is insufficient because we find out that, you know, because of the relativity of time, that data was broadcasting years worth of data to them, but she only landed landed minutes prior to them getting
And that's
there.
what I was just going to say. Like, you don't remember those, at least I don't remember those really small details until you watch it over and over, where it's like, we're wondering, you know, how long was she there? Because you're like, clearly the waves hit every, an hour by the hour. Like, was she there? Because they said she was transmitting over how many pings of information. And it's like, no, because of the time relativity, it was like 5 minutes. Yeah. But 5 minutes is really, you know, like how long there?
Well, and, you know, one of the decisions that went into going there, when I say first, of course, if it was habitable, they probably would have been like, but it was closest to Gargantua, the black hole. So it saves the most amount of fuel. Mm-hmm. And even though the time was the biggest factor for them, the other two planets, which, like I said, we mentioned Edmonds and the love relationship with Anne Hathaway, and then Man's planet, which we'll come into later, those two were the two biggest affected by Gargantua. And for it to just backfire the way it did on all aspects, and then when they get back to the ship and Romley kind of self-elects to not go to cryo sleep, you see his beard get gray.
23 years.
Yes, 23 years.
Alone.
4 months. Oh my God, I couldn't imagine. And like, we
and not no TV.
I was gonna say, we joked around like, what the hell are you doing for all those
23?
Oh my God.
I mean, you study the thing. You could study for how long? 8-10 hours until you're tired. Like,
well, one thing I don't think they ever disclosed was how much supplies did they give them, because I know they said when they sent the 12 pilots out for the Lazarus that they gave them 2 years worth of supplies that they could stretch out into a decade with the cryo sleep or whatever. But they didn't disclose, so I'm wondering, like,
he had to have slept half of it.
Had to.
Even more.
Yeah.
Because when you do the math, you're like, how did you survive for 23 years? Yeah. But then again, I start to think about it, I'm like, is his time different from Earth? Because that 23 years of time, like, is he impacted the same as Earth years in the orbit? That's the only thing. Yeah. Or did they get there and it's like 5 years for him, but it's 23 back home? I think that's where I was still a little.
I would assume it's the same as home because
Yeah.
I think their ship, or I guess the base, because he was at their base ship.
Yeah.
Not the one that,
It stayed out
he
of...
stayed out of the gravitational pull
Yes.
of Gargantua.
Yeah. Something that I just, again, Christopher Nolan is just one of the best to ever really do it, but something that I always take away from watching the movie that has nothing to do with, it's like his technical ability, like the sense of scale. Like he shows you some of these shots and you're looking at the ship and it's like an ant.
Yeah.
And you're seeing like Saturn
yeah.
or Gargantua at the end. You're like, just his sense of scale, and it's astonishing. Like you made a joke like, damn, how do you get that camera crew up there to film Saturn? Like, it's so stupid,
Yeah.
but like these scenes that, because you're so locked into the story, you're not thinking about like, his VFX team accomplishing this. You're just seeing like these amazing shots that he's created, and the sense of scale, his practicality. Like a lot of it was, practical effects, trying to figure out how can I make this as real as I can for McConaughey and all these people to perform at their best.
I was just saying, like, I know, like, we both, praise Nolan for his cinematography, and I'm going to keep hammering down Hans Zimmer. Like, the no time for caution being used in the docking sequence and on Miller's Planet. Like, every second that passes, we said the time translation, but you just feel the weight of the moment with both of those, geniuses kind of on full display, showing off, basically. Like,
and him not knowing what it was about.
Yeah.
He wasn't told it was a space movie. He
Which
was
is
like,
crazy.
it's a movie about a father and a daughter bonding or son bonding. He's like, no problem.
Like, yeah, let me grab
Cook
an
that
organ, play one note, and then it
they
just
flew
became...
to some like insane church to film it too. It's just, I look at their combination and I just relate it right to like Williams and Spielberg. Like it's just, they both know they're great at what they do, and when you conjoin the two, they just work and make like a masterpiece.
Yeah. You had peanut butter jelly, spaghetti and meatballs, Zimmer and Nolan, right? So we could probably jump ahead to, they get past the Miller's Planet mishap, and then this is where like the first emotional decision has to come into play, because now that Cooper's all pissed off at Anne Hathaway for kind of like
not listening to him for the mission, completely.
And now's the decision. Do they have to go to Edmund's planet, which
Right.
shows better data but is farther away, or Man's planet because it's closer to Gargantua and they could probably get home, which is also showing good data.
Right.
But the key was that he was still sending signals.
Right. And I think the most difficult part that at least I started putting into perspective up until now is he's very judgmental on Anne Hathaway for making an emotional decision based off of like her wanting to see Edmonds, but like
that's his move.
He's disregarding his own. Like he wants to get home, rightfully so. I mean, who wouldn't want to? But also like he's judging her based off of like, I love him, I want to go see him. But it's like, but you're also thinking you want to hit Mans because you want to get home. Which again, he didn't know the whole lie, so I understand why he's calculating the fuel conservation, like distance. But it's just interesting because that's another deeper layer that I didn't even really process until this watch through.
And then, you see Anne Hathaway kind of throw it in his face. Like, listen, like, okay, I messed up on my scientific calculation with Miller's Planet. But if we go to Man's Planet and it does not work out, you're going to have a tough decision to make to tell your kids, A, I'm not coming home, I'm saving the future, or you're telling everybody who's at home, Earth's dying and I'm coming home just to see my kids.
Right.
So it's, again, one of the more brilliant themes throughout the film. Mm-hmm. But I think one of the cooler parts, which was kept a surprise from audiences, was that Matt Damon, like no one knew Matt Damon was in this film. It wasn't any of the marketing, and then he wakes up from the cryo sleep. You're like, holy shit, that's Matt fucking Damon. He's been lying to them that this planet's habitable for humans. They say, 67 hours of daylight, 67 hours of nighttime. But he says, on the surface, it's breathable air, no problem.
And then they go through this entire escapade where it's just like, again, first watch through, you don't realize that he's, lying through his teeth. But then the second watch through, you're like, you see it all. Like it spells it out crystal clear. And I love the fact that as much theory, relativity, science you can put, like another theme that's throughout it is just human nature, whether that's the lying, miscalculating, like the love aspect and like following your heart, emotion, like it all ties into, even Man's reasoning behind why he's doing it all. He's survival instincts, right? I turned off this cryosphere or whatever to fall asleep and never wake up. And then he wakes up and he has this whole fucking plan, this ruse, because instinctually he just wants to get home too.
Well, it's crazy because he says he realizes it right away. He said he knew the second he landed here that this place wasn't habitable for humans, so he pretty much just committed to lying.
Yeah.
And another layer in that scene is when Jessica Chastain like sends the message to Bran that her father, Michael Caine, passes away.
Yep.
And finds out that he freaking knew
he found out in 5 minutes too that he couldn't solve it. And he's been doing 50 years worth of faking.
He lied about
lying.
trying to solve this equation that was unsolvable, or at least the aspect that he...
Well, it wasn't unsolvable. He solved it. And it didn't solve the problem.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Plan A was always the goal, to take the people from Earth as we know them.
Well, no, Plan B was always the goal.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We as an audience, and Cooper.
Yes, we think Plan A is the goal.
Plan A is Plan A. Everybody knows A, B, C, D, right?
Yes.
And then for have them to be lied to that, but man knows it. Matt Damon wakes up knowing that the long-term goal was just to take...
Well, so everyone on that Lazarus mission, I'm assuming, was under the impression that Plan B was the goal.
Yep.
So they all took this mission thinking, like, if I land here and I can either be the one that's habiting all these people or die.
That's what I was gonna... That's where my... I don't want to call it gripe, but I'm wondering, like, motive. I know survival instinct with Matt Damon, right? But if he willingly signed up knowing that Plan B was the goal, then why is he rushing to just get back home? You know what I mean? Who's he trying to get back home to? Because I know he was lying to them. Oh, I'm going to save the future of this mission. No. You were stealing that freaking ship to get back
selfishly.
Home.
Yeah. And it might not have even been get home, but just like to continue. Like we said, when you land there, it'd be terrible, and I'm sure he'd face some sort of punishment, but you could have just straight up been like, hey, like, I've been lying, but I'm here now. So you have to take me with you.
Yeah.
I don't need to, like, take over. Just, like, bring me to the next planet.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, to attack Cooper, obviously it just added so much more to the story.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, my biggest upset was the fact that...
Romley?
Yeah.
Like, that got done.
Why are you rigging a bomb? Insane. What are you doing? Because he didn't want anyone to get the archival footage or whatever because he was messing with it. But, like, really? Like, you have to kill everybody to get out? You couldn't have just, like...
Like you said, we both said it. Dude, just be like, listen, guys, I lied, right?
We're thinking about us where we interact with people every day, right? This man has been alone for...
Who knows?
How long? We don't know the time gap between that planet. We also don't know. He said, you have woken me up from the dead.
The dead, yeah.
I was planning on never waking up again. So you're dealing with someone...
That's another genius of Nolan.
Yep.
Calling it Lazarus.
Yeah.
By literally bringing you back to
from
life.
the dead, yeah.
One of the most intense sequences is when they're chasing after Matt Damon. He stole one of the planes. Or did he steal it, or was that his own plane?
No, he took the ring, because they had, like, that...
The Lander and the Ranger,
yes,
right?
Yeah, whatever that other ship was called.
Yeah. So he's trying to get to the main base to kind of get his ass home.
Yeah.
And they're following.
Well, so his mission or his thought process behind like his steps forward was to commandeer the main centrifuge, whatever their station. And then he's like, I'm in control now, so you need to listen to what I want to say.
Yeah.
And again, we don't know his rationale. Is it to continue and go to the next planet to try and save it? Is it you want to get home?
Yeah.
We don't know. But then seeing him not,
being able to lock
he can't pressurize, or the tube depressurizes, and you just see. That's what I wanted to get into, and this is a perfect thing. The sound design of this movie was impeccable. And something that I've always taken note of every time I watch is Nolan's use of how, like, an intense moment, intense score, silence.
Yes.
Like that explosion goes off, you hear it, but it's literally radio silence. Other than just that, and until like the debris comes and you're like traveling through it, but just his way of like utilizing the difference in sound with like intensity to nothing.
Well, that's one of the beauties. He shoots movies for the theater. Mm-hmm. So we got the chance to see it re-released in IMAX, and that experience is unmatched because you're in a theater with 50 plus people, and you could hear a pin drop. Mm-hmm. Just adds to the intensity of the shot. And right away, McConaughey doesn't miss a step. Bran's like, what the hell are you doing? Why you put the fuel on?
Spin it.
Analyze the docking sequence.
Yeah.
Insane. that's probably my favorite part of the movie.
Really?
Is the docking sequence.
When he matches the spinning?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm a sucker for like all the emotional scenes, like him seeing his children growing up, and the way they did the casting to gap it to where like he sees the first video, it's still Timothy Chalamet. Then like the next one, it's Casey Affleck. You're like, oh my God, so much time has passed, and he's got to sit there and realize like, again, he's trying to figure out how can I reverse this? Can we go through another black hole or one? No, like time, you could stretch it, bend it, but you can't dial it back.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that all of the solutions of this movie were like on a watch.
Yeah.
Like to signify, it's gravity, but it's like a time tool that we created to like keep track of this random abstract thing that we talk about.
Yeah. And then it's crazy. Again, you go from the beginning of the movie that hops you right in, and then we mentioned when they finally get up to space, it takes a little bit for them to determine, all right, what's the next step?
Yep.
But then as soon as they leave man's planet, so many things happen, right? Analyze the docking sequence. It's not possible. It's necessary.
Yep.
They connect to it. And as Anne Hathaway's like, woo, great job, they're getting pulled in by Gargantua.
No time
like
to decide.
Literally.
He's like, we just got to drop shit, Newton's third law.
Yep. And
we'll propel you forward using the gargantuan pull, but something we got to drop.
just unbelievable. Like
seeing like the star that they created, or black hole, I guess it's technically not a star. You're just looking at it in like awe, especially on IMAX screen. You're like, oh my God, this is insane.
It just really shows the proof, like how small we really are out there.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and we can get into a totally different.
Yeah. Our conspiracy theory.
Right, exactly. Are we truly alone and stuff like that?
Yeah.
But to kind of.
It's terrifying, really.
Yeah.
Interesting, but like.
It is terrifying when you zoom out like that. But no, to another lie to kind of tell Anne Hathaway, like, hey, there's enough fuel for both of us.
Yep.
But he sends her off to Edmund's planet because that's really the last one within striking distance.
Yeah.
While he, Tars, and Case kind of figure out, all right, what is this thing? How can we further explore it to understand, A, to get back home, but B, to save the future.
It's awesome how they did it because it just ties into Murphy's Law again. Like, he's facing his problems by moving forward right through it. Whatever can happen will. He drops through the worm or black hole, and even just the fact that I love the fact that it's so in depth where he loses control of the ship. So he's like, I'm just at this thing's mercy or the will of wherever this is taking me, which leads to the whole. Again, we still don't know who they are with the Tesseract, Tesseract 3D,
Fifth
dimension, whatever. But like the fact that it wasn't up to him. Like this was meant to be your path. You were supposed to travel into here, and whatever can happen will happen.
Yeah.
Which was like just another layer where I'm like, he loses control and he just has to sit there and go with it.
Yeah, and like you're thinking, like when he's hearing eject, you're like, all right, you're ejecting
Where?
into the middle of space. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And for him to, like exactly what you said, land in that Tesseract area and catch himself. And I don't know, again, this comes off rewatching because the way that they designed the fifth dimension, even before you see into the room, the colors just match the bookshelves. And it's just, again, another layer of genius.
Right.
To kind of hone in on where the movie started. You know what I'm saying? You see the dust, you see the watch, you see
and
everything.
the callbacks, and they pull the same exact scene,
Yes.
and they just replay it again, and you're like, oh my God.
And again, that's where Nolan does a great job of kind of explaining things. Like Tars gets on the mic, it's like, hey, I quantified this data. The fifth dimension, time is created in a physical sense. So this, whatever this is where you can navigate time. So that's when you see McConaughey bouncing around to different areas, and he finally realized his purpose is to tell his daughter, who is really the chosen one, to save the world.
Right.
And it's just between...
It's like the whole Anakin Luke.
Yes,
like Anakin thinks he's
thinking.
the chosen one, but like Luke is the one that really like
and
saves
then
it.
binary code, Morse code.
Yep.
He's like, how can I get my message across?
Right.
So you kind of are, oh wow, that's what happened in the beginning of the movie. And then he finally ends up taking the second hand of the watch with the one line and whatever you want to call it, the Tesseract, and he's just playing with it.
Yep.
And it's cool because, like I said, you don't see the linear story until Jessica Chastain's in the movie, and that's where they kind of line up. Even though that's not where he currently is, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because he's really in the future already.
Right.
But that's what makes the film.
Yeah, and that's where it's so awesome, but also can be extremely confusing because like he can travel and commune in different timelines or different moments in time, but like he's technically, no matter what he communicates up until the end of it, it's not changing the fact that it's led him to that point.
Yes.
What confuses me the whole time and why I actually even love the movie even more is because like there's no answer really, but like he solves it, he sends her the signal and it starts to collapse and Tars is just like, we served our purpose, we've solved it.
Yeah.
And as he's traveling through to wake up, like as it's collapsing, he's right. Isn't that the moment where his hand has shaken Anne Hathaway's? So like technically, like solving that, he's still traveling through the black hole to signal to her to like, not necessarily stop, but like he's reaching out, seeing that moment again. So once it's solved, it kind of ends the loop, but it doesn't because like by it ending, he's like seeing himself just starting their journey.
Yeah.
So that's where my brain gets so confused with like the whole theory behind it, because it's like as much as you are solving it and traveling towards the next moment in time in like that present day, like you're still on your way out to Miller's planet without knowing.
I know. And
like he can't ever stop himself.
Yes.
It's not possible.
No.
Even if he signals to Murph, he will always go to NASA and fly out there, and it just constantly happens over and over.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, whoever they are, and I think they tell us that they are just people from the future, right?
Yeah.
Whoever they are, Cooper's purpose is to tell his daughter how to save the world. And that's why the coordinates, right? Because we said at the beginning of the movie, like, wait, if it's him, why is he giving himself the coordinates to just go away from his daughter? But really, it's so that his daughter eventually ends up at NASA.
Right.
To figure out.
To learn it all.
To go back to the room that the movie started to figure it out. And that's why we love Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Because in so many of his movies, and I'm sure we'll do a whole video dedicated to him. But like, he keeps you on your toes, and every time you rewatch a movie, you learn something new.
And you get a whole new take on it. You get a whole new perspective. I love to, I don't know the technical term, I'll have to look at it after. Like, I know they're cutaways, but it's like on specific items or props. And like he does this so much throughout Interstellar with the watch, with all of the props of like the space station, the quarter that he flipped to find.
That's right.
Like all these, and I mean, they just showed that was like an anomaly, but like all these little things, it's like the detail shots that all tied together to make it like, I don't know, you start to focus on things more and you're like, there's a reason why. It's all intentional. That's what I want to say. Every single frame in this movie is intentional with why he's doing it that way. And that's what, I mean, a great director is going to do. But I think my favorite, I mean, it's the reason for the movie. Like he connects back with Murph again. And it's such like and then you realize she's the one in those the mockumentary clips explaining what they had to go through. And just the moment of him connecting with her again, she's like, you made a promise that you'd come back. Yeah. It's just such a monumental moment. And I think in like movie history, cinema history.
Agreed. You know again, I'll use a pun, the gravity of the moment. Just because like, same thing with Jessica Chastain. When the first time that she sends a message to Cooper is when she turns the same age that he was when he left.
Yep, and he said he'd be back by then.
Yes.
I might come back and you might be just as old as I am.
Yes.
And he's still not back yet.
Yeah, and then when when they save him outside the space station and take him to Cooper Station, they reveal to him that he's 124 years old. So you gotta imagine if she's, I don't want to call her on her deathbed, but if she's on her way out, she's gotta be late 80s, 90s, right? So that's just on Earth years. And to see that they aren't even on a new planet yet. And that's one of the coolest endings, is to show him be like, all right, his daughter gave me the green light to go find Bran and continue saving the world. He suits up, takes off, and classic Nolan fashion, black screen, but one-word title.
If they went to Edmonds first, in theory, would that have solved everything?
See, that's
because that planet, they're starting to set up the camp. So like that planet, I guess technically was the right out of the three choices to make.
Which is really, again, another full circle moment, because Anne Hathaway does say that in the beginning, that like his shows the best data. Mann was the best scientist. Miller's was the closest to them. So that's where everybody's opinion because McConaughey, he just wants to get home.
Yep.
So if Miller's planet is going to work, it's the closest, saves us the most time.
Right.
Man has the best, realistic opportunity because he's still sending signals like, okay, if he's, habitable there,
right,
then we can go there.
And he has the best credibility.
Yes.
He was the leader of the Lazarus team.
Yep. So it just goes to show how every layer of every decision, not to quote Tony Soprano, every facet of every decision plays a role into eventually.
Most of the decisions that are correct are based off of human connection and love.
Which
if she followed her heart, like she said, and he's like, we have to be scientific about this. Well, if she didn't, and again, hindsight's a bitch. You find that after. But even him, right? Like he followed his whole path based off of, he said it. The answer to this is our human connection between Murph and I to solve, how to tell her, solving gravity that could change through space and time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like all tied into just the fact that human nature and human connection is something that, he says it's quantifiable, I believe, but like it's something that you can't factor in, but you just have to follow.
Yeah. Follow your heart.
Yeah. It just, again, so many layers. And
I mean,
it's like a rainbow cookie. You got seven layers to this thing. You're thinking you're just getting the good jelly or whatever, the jam. No. You're getting the chocolate, you get
the green, you get the red. Yeah. No, but I definitely think Interstellar, I mean, one of the best movies ever made.
It's on my top 4 for Letterboxd.
I mean,
it wasn't. I rewatched in IMAX with you, and I said, you know what? It's just one of those movies that deserves my top 4.
I think, and like you said it towards the beginning of the episode, I think I want to say like around COVID is when people kind of had a chance to sit down. I feel like that's when it regained its notoriety and has become like, even the memes now, I know, with the most emotional scene. Don't let me leave, Murph. Yeah. And it's like, me when I choose being a Jets fan at 3 years old. And he's like, no.
He's stopping himself.
Yeah. But just the true, like I said, we use this word how many times, genius of the Nolan brothers writing that. How do you even come up with those ideas and to be able to put it on full display?
Yeah. Just to find the right people or to run it by the right team to make it like actually, again, I'm no scientist, but to make it seem like it makes sense for the average viewer. Yeah. Like, you can't deny it. It's like, I guess it's somewhat abstract, but there's so much science that they explain to back it. And that's why they almost justified it. And that's why I love the movie. Like, on the list of all the movies that they claim this is a must-watch movie.
It'll change your life.
Yeah, honestly. That's the best way to put it.
I know.
All right, you want to get into the segment?
Let's do it.
That's the wormhole. You say it, don't spray it, huh?
Sticking with the Interstellar theme, we're going to introduce a new segment. It's called The Wormhole. So we're going to ask Siri or Google to give us a random year, and we're going to have them give us a list of movies from that year, and we're going to see if we can come up with a way to unanimously agree on the top 3 movies from that year.
But the caveat is that we're going to time how long it takes for me and you to agree on the top 3 movies, and we're going to calculate how long that would have taken in Earth years on Miller's planet.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to explain that?
Yeah.
And what is it? Say it one more time. Every hour is 7 years.
7 years.
Of Earth time. Yes. So whatever we clock out, if it takes us 5 minutes, whatever, we will calculate how long that will take.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So let's just ask for a random year. Give me a random year between 1954 and 2026.
Let's go with 1987.
Okay, let's do it. The clock has started too, so I gotta go fast. What, top movies, I guess?
Yeah.
Just top movies in 1987?
Yeah.
Getting into the 90s, that's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna go to IMDb, best movies in 1987.
Whoa! Come on!
All right, popped up. Okay, you ready? You want me to, I'll just read them out loud, I guess. 1, Empire of the Sun. Have you ever seen it? Christian Bale's first movie. It's okay. Full Metal Jacket. Wall Street. Angel Heart. The Untouchables. I haven't seen, but I heard it was very good. Good Morning Vietnam. Predator. Fatal Attraction. RoboCop. The Witches of Eastwick. A Better Tomorrow. Cry Freedom. Lethal Weapon.
Dang.
This is a stacked year. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any other. Beverly Hills Cop 2. Dirty Dancing. I know that was pretty. Hellraiser. Wow. Spaceballs. All right, I think I listed enough.
Okay.
I feel like we can try and narrow down. See, I love Wall Street.
I
think I want to get. All right, so we're gonna give Wall Street one
Wall
of the three.
Street, I'm on
Lock in.
Lock in.
That's a good.
Play the NFL draft tone.
Have you seen Good Morning Vietnam with Robin
I have
Williams?
not, but it's funny because I was gonna say I know you said you didn't mention Untouchables.
I know. Those are two back to like. It's in my watch list, Untouchables, and I've been dying to see it.
Yeah.
Good Morning Vietnam, Robin Williams, amazing.
Well, you mentioned
Full Metal Jacket. Have you seen Full Metal Jacket?
Jacket's great.
That's a great movie.
Are we locking it in? I mean, it's not. I will admit it's not one of my favorite war movies, but it's
for
really
this
good.
year. But Lethal Weapon.
I was gonna say
Lethal Weapon. I'm good with locking that in because I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole franchise.
Riggs.
But,
I mean, come on.
Yeah, Richard Donner, Mel Gibson, Danny Glover.
Yeah.
Gary Busey.
Joe Pesci in the future.
Yep.
All right, so
Community.
we're locking that in. We're locking Lethal Weapon and we're locking Wall Street. And then that's tough because we haven't seen those other two unanimously.
Yeah. I know, again, Dirty Dancing played like a pivotal role for that time.
Yeah, Patrick
Swayze, but I don't know, like for me personally to agree on that, I wouldn't put that in my top.
No.
Neither would I do for Hellraiser, although that was really good. Planes, Trains, and even Planes, Trains. I love that movie, but it's not top 3 out of this list.
No. I feel like
Predator was really good.
Yeah, that was the one you mentioned.
RoboCop was the other one too.
Should we do the handshake for Predator and lock it in as the final one?
I say because we each didn't see one or the other, we have to go Predator. Now check the clock, see what it was. I think it has to be. All right, I like that list. Wall Street, Predator, and what was
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon. Okay, okay.
I think
I'm not upset with that.
No.
I would personally put Good Morning Vietnam in one of those 3.
I'm sure it'd be up there too.
And again, you said Untouchables was great as well. So, all right, cool. I mean, we actually made it out pretty fast. I'm curious to see how long that took. We're gonna put it right here.
All right, so we know Interstellar. We both think it's one of the best movies ever, but would you say it's Christopher Nolan's best movie? Yeah.
I would say so. I mean, I know you love The Dark Knight.
Well, see, I will admit this. I would say I think it's his best movie. Is it my favorite movie? No, because I'm loyal to The Dark Knight, but I mean, it's right there.
I love
the
Memento.
Best. I think it's the best movie score
out of Christopher Nolan's films or ever.
Honestly, I might even say ever.
Wow.
Just like, I know we both love Hans Zimmer. We saw him in concert. We got the privilege to see him live perform Interstellar with dancers and his whole band. But
I think it is Hans Zimmer's best score.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you on that.
Okay.
Overall, I'm a John Williams guy.
It's hard, but just plenty of movies. The score oftentimes
carries
makes the film.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's one where the music plays as heavily of a role as this film, because I know you mentioned Nolan loves to use sound, whether the absence of it or the enhancement of it. And I think in this, everybody knows the Interstellar music.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think just overall, it's got to be his best movie.
Yeah.
I mean, all of his movies are great, but.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let us know in the comments below if you agree, if it's his best movie or not. If not, comment what you think is. So thanks for tuning in, everyone.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and check out our other episodes.